Okay, today I want to talk about Next.js. What is Next.js? What are key features of it? So let's explore. What is Next.js? Next.js is a React framework for building full-stack web applications. Key features of it are file system-based routing system. So pages are associated with a route based on their file name, which allows to create dynamic routes, nested routes, and catch-all routes. So I'm going to give you an example how this works and explain in more detail in order you to understand it. So we can have pages folder in our Next.js project, which all the files in it will be associated with routes. So for example, we have pages, and inside of it we have a file named test.js, and so we're going to have route test in our application, like localhost 3000/test. And in this order, we can create routes. We can create also dynamic, nested, and catch-all routes. Dynamic routes are routes that can have dynamic value. So we can create them by creating file in pages with square brackets on each side of a file name. So we can create square bracket test square bracket .js, and we can have a dynamic route that will correspond to localhost / for example, foo all, or localhost / for example, like lion or any other value. This is dynamic route. Nested routes are just created by using pages folder and utilizing folders and file structures. So we can create under pages folder like test, and in test folder we can create foo folder, and in foo folder we're going to create index, not index, but like about.js, and we're going to create in this we have created a route that is localhost 3000 / test / foo / about, and this is how nested routes are created. And catch-all routes are routes that will catch any route that is there. So if we can how to create them it is simple as a dynamic route, but we're gonna have to embed file name with square brackets on the end and start in another pair of square brackets. So there will be square bracket foo square bracket .js, and like this we're gonna catch all possible values of route in this file, and render this file on any route that will be. Okay, another one key feature is pre-rendering, and pre-rendering refers to the process of generating HTML with the necessary data for a page in our application. What are the benefits of pre-rendering? The key benefits are pre-rendering can result in better performance and better SEO, a better search engine optimization. Kinds of pre-rendering available in Next.js are static site generation, aka SSG, incremental static generation, aka ISR, and server-side rendering and runtime, aka SSR. Okay, let's talk about kinds of rendering in more detail. So first on is static site generation. It is a method of pre-rendering where HTML pages are generated at build time of our web application, and pages built once, cached by CDN, and served to the client almost instantly. Best suitable for blog pages, e-commerce product pages, documentation, and marketing pages, where data is not updated very frequently, as we fetch our data on build time, and if our data is updated and needs to be our application needs to display current data, not stale, it is important to us that user see most currently updated data that we have. This method is not the best option, as we just fetch at build time, and if we want to update our data, we need to rebuild our application, and then new data will be seen in the pages. So this method allows us to generate HTML on server and just serve this HTML to the user which requested. Incremental static generation with ISR Next.js allows you to update static pages after you rebuild your application. You can statically generate individual pages without needing to rebuild the entire site, effectively solving the issue of dealing with stale data. So the issue we mentioned just a few seconds ago was solved by Next.js team by developing incremental static generation, with which allows us to create a timeout in which server will update all those HTML generated pages at build time if data displayed in it are stale. So it will check at this build time if data is stale. If it is, new HTML page will be generated, served to the user, and saved on server. But if it is not, just old one version of HTML page will be served to the user. Server-side rendering at runtime, aka SSR. SSR involves generating the page or HTML on each request on server side of the application, rather than during the build process. When a user requests a page, server dynamically creates the HTML content, incorporating built-in data if needed, and send it to the browser. So the thing is that using server-side rendering enables us to generate all HTML page at server and send it ready to use to user. Not like when we using client-side fetching, where we send just root HTML page and then embedding all the content in it on client side. Therefore, we are when using server-side rendering, we are make our performance better and make SEO engine results more better for us, because website crawlers can index our data, index our pages as we serve them already built, and also server can build pages faster than sometimes client side browsers can. Okay, there is another feature in Next.js that's called static HTML export that allows us to generate a fully static HTML version of website, which is quite rare in our times nowadays, when we have at most dynamic website and web applications, which requires to fetch data a lot, to fetch data according to the current user, for example, or ads. But Next.js still supports this feature. So Next.js will generate HTML file per route at build time, and just these HTML files will be served to user. And the benefits of it are since Next.js supports the static export, it can be deployed. So web application can be deployed and hosted on any web server that can serve HTML as CSS, GS static assets. So it results in easier deployment, and we can choose any hosting service we want, because it's very easy to just serve any files, not to do any dynamic actions. Performance. By breaking a strict single-page application into individual HTML files, Next.js can avoid loading unnecessary JavaScript code on the client side, reducing the bundle size, and enabling faster page load. CEO. When you host static HTML files, all of the content is already pre-generated into the HTML that will be sent to the user. This means that when SEO crawlers visit your site to index content, they can easily see a lot of the variable content and work their way through it. Okay. Next feature of Next.js is API route feature. Is a solution to build a public API, not using Express or Node for building backend endpoints, and just utilizing Next.js. So any file inside the folder pages API is mapped to API star and will be treated as an API endpoint instead of pages. API routes are I need to explain more about this. So all the files in the API folder will be treated as API endpoints, and so we can create this API instead of creating API backend, instead of creating whole backend application separate from our Next.js project. The key benefits of it: API routes are same origin by default, which greatly simplifies communication. API routes provide built-in request helpers which parse the incoming request. It helps us to create. It gives us full flexibility to create whatever we want and do whatever we want in our APIs endpoints. Every API route can change its default configuration, which gives us flexibility to create and configure it that will suit our application needs. And there are server-side only bundles and one increase your client-side bundle, so it doesn't bundle in client-side web application. It is not sent to the user in browser. And talking about Next.js components, head component we see here is a built-in component that allows you to append elements to the head of your page. This is useful for setting the page title, adding meta tags, linking style sheets, and more. So it's used for adding metadata about the page comfortably in a React application. Another Next.js component is image component, and the image component is a built-in component that provides several key features for optimizing image delivery. The benefits are size optimization. The image component automatically serves correctly sized images for each device using modern image formats like WebP and AVIF. Visual stability. It prevents layout shift automatically when images are loading. Fast page loads. Images are only loaded when they enter the viewport using native browser lazy loading with optional blur up placeholders. On-demand image resizing, even for images stored on remote servers. So it is used to optimize and create better user experience with images on your web application. That's all. Thanks for attention, and thanks for listening to my presentation.